Welcome back to another legal discussion on cannabis. Today we're going to talk about legal entities. Which one should a new company choose? To a large extent, the desirability of one type of legal entity over another is a function of the startup company's particular expectancies and needs. Relevant considerations include the company's source and scope of financing, the number of partners and stockholders, if any, the company intends to procure, questions of liability, the type of tax treatment the founders would like to be subjected to vis-a-vis the company, and a litany of other concerns. If the startup company knows that it will ultimately seek financing from venture capitalists, a C Corp is undoubtedly their best option. Principally, it offers the same shield of individual liability protection most often lauded by proponents of the LLC. And because of its capacity to issue several classes of stock, both common and preferred, venture capitalists nearly universally consider it a requirement before investing. S Corps, conversely, can only issue one class of stock, common stock, for up to 100 stockholders. As a rule of thumb, it is always wise for startup companies seeking more than $750,000 in financing to incorporate as a C Corp. Taxation. As discussed, startup companies seeking VC funding will nearly universally incorporate as a C Corp. As this pertains to taxes, it is important to understand that C Corps will be taxed twice. Once at the corporate level, and again at the stockholder level, dictated by the amount of dividends collected. While the tax flow benefits of an LLC, in which taxes are only paid at the member level and not additionally at the corporate level, like the C Corp structure, may be tempting, it is important for startups seeking VC funding to set up their businesses as a C Corp from the beginning. Even though the conversation and the conversion from an LLC to a C Corp is not fatally problematic, it is best for startup companies to avoid any unnecessary and cumbersome legal and tax transactions involved in the conversion process. Like LLCs, S Corps have a flow-through tax scheme whereby the taxable income is passed along directly to the individual members. As a corollary, corporate losses may be claimed by the individual and used to offset personal taxable income. Choosing the right state. This is an important question. Startup companies often choose to incorporate their primary state of business or in the state of Delaware. While it may seem random to incorporate in Delaware, it is actually quite sensible, as Delaware is renowned for its judicial infrastructure, specifically geared towards supporting startup companies. Startup companies may benefit greatly from the Delaware's massive history of corporate case law and its well-oiled judicial machine of facilitating startup companies on their path to IPO. It would not be uncharitable to suggest that the question of entity selection is as troubling to most attorneys as it is to the average startup founder. Fundamentally, choosing the correct legal entity is tricky because it implicates many different issues, including taxes, liability, funding, and considerations of the startup company's long-term goals and objectives. Cannabis companies in particular have greater legal and regulatory considerations to juggle. Please be sure to discuss all of these issues with a qualified cannabis attorney. That's all we have for today. Looking forward to speaking and listening to all of your concerns in the near future. This is Abe Cohn with THC Legal Group.